I've walked through shadows that whisper and alleys that bend in ways they shouldn't. Seen places where the light forgets to reach. But of all the cursed corners, there's one that follows me still. That house was where I first heard them. The sallow-eyed children. I remember the scratching, the faint tap tap, tap from within. I thought it was the wind. It's never the wind. In the forgotten town of Hollow's End, the houses were old, their beams sagging with age, and their closets were impossibly deep, as though they reached into another world. There was always a peculiar chill in those dark corners, an air heavy with a faint, sour musk that clung to the shadows. Parents would close the closet doors each night, turning the knobs firmly until they heard the click, yet by morning, they were always ajar. Clothes hung limply within, swaying slightly as if disturbed by unseen hands. And every now and then, children would whisper of the eyes, sallow, hollow eyes that watched from the corners, gleaming faintly with a sickly yellow hue. But parents would only smile, their brows furrowing with faint confusion, as though they had heard the story before but couldn't quite remember where. They never spoke of the disappearances. It was an unspoken rule in Hollow's End. Every few years, a child would vanish, leaving behind a rumpled bed, an open closet, and a faint line of dirt trailing from within, as though something had crawled out. Their names would be spoken in hushed tones, faces fading from memory as the years passed, until they were little more than ghostly echoes. There was a reason the town forgot. Long ago, there had been a ritual, a way to keep the sallow-eyed children at bay. Every parent knew it once, learned it as they themselves were tucked into bed by mothers and fathers who shivered when the closet door creaked. They would place salt lines along the threshold and nail iron into the corners, whispering the ancient words passed down for generations. But the words faded, slipping from memory as childhood fears were forgotten. The ritual was a thing of youth, a foolish superstition best left behind. And so, as parents grew older, the knowledge withered, vanishing into the depths of their minds, just as the children vanished into the depths of the closets. It was the house on Willow Lane that the town spoke of most often. The Winslows had moved in during the autumn, their laughter carrying through the brittle leaves. Their daughter, Lily, was a quiet child with wide, curious eyes. Not long after settling in, she began speaking to her closet at night, her voice a soft whisper, muffled by the old wooden door. One evening, Lily told her mother about the children who lived in the corners. They were pale and thin, their faces long and hollow, with eyes that glowed softly in the dark. They whispered to her, she said, in voices like dry leaves rustling in the wind. They were lonely and wanted to play. Mrs. Winslow smiled, ruffling Lily's hair before closing the closet door a little tighter. But as she turned to leave, she hesitated, a chill brushing the back of her neck. She had heard this story before, hadn't she? A distant memory flitted through her mind, a faint echo of words spoken long ago, but it slipped away before she could grasp it. That night, the whispers grew louder. They slithered through the darkness, curling around Lily as she lay awake, staring at the closet door. She felt the cold seeping from within, a bitter chill that tasted like dust and mildew. The door opened slowly, noiselessly, and she saw them, thin, elongated figures crawling out, their limbs bending at unnatural angles, fingers tapping rhythmically on the floorboards. Their faces were gaunt and hollow, mouths stretched into lipless smiles that revealed rows of needle-sharp teeth. Their eyes were sunken, glowing faintly with that sickly yellow hue. They moved with jerky, spider-like motions, their limbs too long, their joints creaking as they scuttled toward her. The next morning, Lily's bed was empty. The closet door stood wide open, dirt and mildew staining the floor around it. Her parents searched the house, their voices echoing through the old walls, growing frantic as the hours passed. But when the neighbors came to help, they found Mr. and Mrs. Winslow standing in the hallway, their faces blank, eyes distant. They couldn't remember who they were looking for. The closet door was closed. The people of Hollow's End still don't speak of the disappearances. It's an unspoken rule. They close the closet doors at night, turning the knobs firmly until they hear the click, and tell their children that monsters don't exist. But the children know better. For the sallow-eyed children wait in the darkness, patient and hungry. And they are lonely. So very lonely. The words, I can't remember them anymore. None of us can. That's the curse, you see. We grow old, and the ritual slips away. But they remember and they wait in the corners in the dark. You hear them too, don't you? The scratching, whispers, the question is will you remember before it's too late?